Hello, ladies and gentlemen. With reaching 3.0, we will be almost 2 years into Star Rail with tons of characters released. Some of these characters are actually free, many free 4-star zone selectors, shops, events, you name it, and even a free limited 5-star through the mail. But the most unique character in the entire game is the one we all start with, a 5-star. The first character we get to know and we get to play, the character we would all love to self-insert to some degree as Kafka. Well, that's technically correct, but I'm sorry, this video is about the trash panda, the Trailblazer. The Trailblazer has very unique implications of balancing that no other character has. And with the new remembrance path coming, I decided it would be good to refresh ourselves on Trailblazer's place in the meta over the versions and how they continuously can shape the game, as well as some tidbits about remembrance Trailblazer. With that out of the way, let's get on to the video. Trailblazer is a free 5-star that has multiple forms they can switch around, as the HSR progresses through the story in a live service fashion, kinda like an AO3 fanfiction. The Trailblazer will continuously get forms as time goes on. This not only serves narrative purposes, but also serves a balancing purpose. Devs can give all players free power permanently at certain releases, without directly forcing them to shoot a limited banner character sales, or give a 4-star for free at a limited window. If the Trailblazer is a certain level of power, the devs can pretty much expect that level of power to be the utmost floor every player has and balance everything above it. If the Trailblazer is strong enough, it gives free-to-plays a fighting chance to clear endgame. It serves to give players a taste of an archetype or playstyle that isn't seen before and would hopefully bait them into more premium options. But it can also be a detriment and a benefit in many ways thanks to the unique weakness of only having one Trailblazer available. If you have two Trailblazers that are actually good in their own right and want to run both, then you have a dilemma of choosing one or the other or paying for a close premium alternative. And there lies the issue. If the Trailblazer, who is free, is actually good, then that has some cadence to devalue premium characters that are fairly similar in function. If the Trailblazer is really bad, at some level, that would mean the base power of a player is so low that they may be gatekept from endgame and feel bad about themselves. These are the many obstacles in balancing the main character, and small mistakes can potentially break the game forever because they are available for every account permanently. So did honkaistarrail handle the raccoon with care, or did they not? The first Trailblazer was a baseball bat wielding, physical destruction character. They have decent durability and has both blast and single target attacks to adapt them for the enemy count. In concept, it seemed like a pretty good idea. In the first stretches of the game, enemies are higher level than you. You don't have any relics, and you can barely build your traces to kill enemies before taking it. The enemy lethality was simply much higher due to this, with no way to avoid facing it. A free physical Trailblazer's durability and adaptation to enemy count should be a good solution. And it was. Physical MC is good enough to be comfortable in early game, but as expected, the problem itself doesn't last long enough to make people want to use them. Since it is early game, the game is so easy that you can use characters that have durability issues that output more damage, and later on they scale much better. And because physical MC is so tuned to early game, their numbers look pathetic compared to 4 stars at E6, which you will get eventually. Physical MC just has the advantage of accessibility to make them a good solution, specifically as a DPS, which notoriously over time makes them scale much worse. Inevitably, physical MC became one of the most forgotten characters because it served its job a little too well as an introductory DPS and nothing else. The second Trailblazer was a lance using fire preservation character. They have decent toughness shave, can taunt enemies, have small shields for the party, and on their own is almost unkillable. In early honkaistarrail, durability was pretty prized because of higher enemy levels, so this again was a move that made a lot of sense. Fire MC was a decent enough firebreaker with not as good defenses as other defensive options for the party. They can solo sustain some things, but would usually need to kill enemies fast enough, otherwise the enemies might outpace them to deal damage to everyone else. While the concept of giving players a free tank is a pretty good idea, the problem was more so the implementation. Fire MC couldn't even guarantee a taunt unless they built EHR, which cut defenses for everyone else's shields, and it's a bit strange how they were balanced at certain points. In early game, with lack of strong relics, healers were much stronger than FMC in most situations, and wasn't as demanding of substats for lock or healing. So Natasha was almost always the go-to for cheaper players who was also free. In late game, Gepard scales much better with relics or shields, though not everyone had Gepard. But even then, you may have Bailu who was better for endgame, and the Firebreaker's sustain roll itself wasn't doing too much damage. The main purpose was for interrupting attacks through break as defensive utility, and it would later be invalidated in the most hilarious way possible. They were never the best option, and even with a small number of tanks after Fire MC, they are competing with March 7th and Natasha for the worst sustains in the game. This is just power creep though. In the context of 1.0 to 1.1 HSR, Fire MC was the best you could get for endgame if you didn't have Japard, Bailu, or Luocha. But still, I wouldn't call them great because of that, more like a necessary option that had to exist. It wouldn't be until nearly a full year later we got our next main character. The third Trailblazer was Michael Jackson with a tiny clock. You have no idea how many takes I had to pronounce that right. They introduced the concept of Super Break, which was a rebalancing of break-based character mechanics. Harmony MC, unlike the previous paths, wasn't an early game solution. Since Break was better the more you are leveled and newer accounts would struggle with elemental matches, Harmony MC didn't really do too much for early game, aside from imaginary weak shaving. I go into more detail in the Kafka theorem of the specifics of how Harmony MC changed Break as a whole, so go check that out for more info on the archetype. But for general balancing, Harmony MC was a sizable boost to endgame players. Ever since their introduction, you could see more people clearing MOC reliably due to the high floor it provides. This is further exacerbated by a new game mode that Harmony MC has always been a staple of and is practically based around them. Thanks to their unique traits, more stats became useful and therefore opened up more design spaces for future characters. It's obvious to say Harmony MC did everything just about perfect as a free character. They rebalanced less useful stats and units be up to par, they established a new meta that is a departure from the old, and they opened up new design spaces to sell more characters and unique traits. The only unit that will overlap with Harmony MC is Fugue, who is coming very soon. But even with Fugue being in similar strength to Harmony MC, running Super Break on two teams will be a good enough prospect for some people. Or if that hasn't convinced you, Fugue will allow the Trailblazer to use paths in the future instead of Harmony if another good MC path comes along. Which leads to the new path. Here's the deal about Remembrance MC. If they are not good, people will still keep sticking to Harmony MC. Given the limited info that we have, I cannot speculate how they will hold up, nor how Remembrance biased enemies could work, but it would be safe to say they will make Remembrance about as necessary or strong as Harmony Trailblazer. It would be in their best interest to make you want to swap to and use Remembrance MC, otherwise you remove one of the prospects that makes Fugue a valuable pull. It's pretty clear what they are trying to do. If you skip Fugue, you may have enough for Aglaya and use Harmony MC on the other side for Super Break. If you pull Fugue, you skip Aglaya and use Remembrance MC instead, with Fugue on the other side for Super Break. Unfortunately, it would have to come down to how unique the path really is and how biased the enemy designs work with it. If Remembrance path is just another DPS path and the enemies don't have a particular design that would be biased to them, then Remembrance MC really doesn't matter. If Remembrance path is a support path, they would have a lot of heavy contenders. It's unlikely Remembrance MC will somehow power creep Robin, Ron May, or if the path itself has light cones in similar strength to Dance Dance Dance. Because of that, I believe they will design appropriate enemies to make Remembrance a requirement if they actually want people to swap from Harmony MC or pull Fugue. This appropriate strength won't make you stop pulling for limited Remembrance, but not weak enough to be benched either. Or maybe they do the Genshin special and just make them useless. But that would only be bad for the devs that made Fugue less valuable and the players who want RMC as a power boost. Nobody really wins if RMC is weak, so I really doubt that Remembrance MC will be a weak character. Whatever Remembrance MC will be, Harmony MC has set the bar, and for everyone's own good, we can only hope that it is at least on the level of Harmony Trailblazer. That was the history of the main character, the Trailblazer in a nutshell, and the various aspects of their contemporary design. I hope you guys liked this quick little history recap video. Comment down below what you think and what you think Remembrance MC will be. I'm still actually holding out hope that Aglaya is a standard banner character, because Remembrance missing from the standard banner just feels a little off, but maybe they'll just do that later if it isn't Aglaya. But anyway, I'll see you later. Like, comment, subscribe, do the algorithm stuff. Bye bye.